Good morning, Johnny. Here we are again, back at the museum. Today's little project is this beast. It's a Coleman aircraft tug. I'm not sure if it's vintage, but I suspect they're sort of 60s, 70s. All this stuff on the back, which is a jet air starter, has been put on, so that if you ignore all the stuff off the back, that's normally what it looks like. Four-wheel drive, four-wheel steer. It's got a, I think, forgive me for my ignorance with American V8 engines, I think that's a 318 Chrysler engine with a lovely little carburetor on it. She's been sat for a good 2 years without being run. So today's little project, hopefully, is see if we can get her up and running and driving again. We're going to need it during the summer to move the bigger aircraft about. The little Jeep tug is okay on the hard standing, but you get on the grass and that does struggle a bit. So this is a bit more, got a bit more heft to it. So as you can see, we've got the batteries on charge. I'm just gonna chuck a new set of spark plugs in it and see where we go from there. Hopefully we can get her running today between the two of us. If you've got any suggestions, then more than welcome, gratefully accepted. Okay, I'll bring you back when we've got some progress. Well, here we are again, Johnny. Got new spark plugs in. Connected the carburetor up so the throttle actually works this time. The only problem we have is the choke linkage on the other side. This is the original carburetor. As you can see, is different from the one we've got. That's a vacuum operated choke, which is not too much of a problem because I can't actually get the thing to turn over fast enough to spark it into life. I've got a spark, put new plugs in it, but I think the old starter motor has died, and as you can see, that's pretty well jammed in there, and I haven't actually got the tools with me to do that. So unfortunately we're going to have to call it a day on that today, which is a bit of a downer. And we've got flat batteries. The bane of my life is flat batteries. So I think we'll pack up and call it a day for today. Beautiful day, as you can see, in lovely sunny Bentwaters. And it's actually quite warm, which for, as you well know, airfields is a bit of a rarity. So we're just going to put this. Right, Johnny, as we not going to get anywhere with the old Coleman today, I thought I'd give you another little tour around the base. Probably most of this stuff wasn't here when you were here, so we'll start off. This is the front of our HAZ hanger there. One or two bits of equipment lying about. As you can see from the stacks of boxes and what have you here, there's most of this place now is done over to agriculture, which is potatoes basically. That's what the boxes have you on now. Just over there, that's a former pole site. Petrols, oils and lubricants. That's what you call them. I don't know, you might have something different. More of the hazards over the other side. Most of these were built for the A10s when they came in the in the 80s. So we just have a quick drive round. The little green sheds over there, I think they were here in the 70s, 60s and 70s and what have you. Got tiny workshops. I don't know whether you can see it from your vantage point. The big mound of earth over there in the background was not is a recent thing. They've I don't actually know what they're doing with it. They seem to move it about. Don't really seem to be doing much with it. Most of these hangars now are used for storage of bits and pieces. They're quite an expensive. I think they're £22,000 a year to lease these hangars, so which is quite a huge amount of money. So they must make something out of it. We're now coming up to towards the hush house. Engine running place. Was this here when you were here? It's a new one. I don't know much about the hush house, but that's the one with the big tower behind it that you can see coming up in the distance. As you can see, we've got some cows, all the little calves. Always seems to be something on that side of things. Water towers, and there we have the hush house. You can see the tube behind it. It's used now as a recording studio and that kind of things, where these pop groups shoot their videos and stuff. That's where they do that in there, which is quite interesting. This is now the Wonston Church end, which you probably well know. Again, some more houses with potato boxes outside, and as you can see over this side, that's just one big stack of potato boxes. The big grey shed now coming up on our right here is the former engine bay for the A10s, and the same in the background there. Obviously, it was built specifically for the A10s and their turbofan engines. Now this building here, the little flat one with the bus in front of it, this is part of the Agriculture Museum that's owned by Bentwaters Parks. He's got probably the best part of 400 or 500 tractors of various vintages in the buildings around this part of the area. I don't know whether you can see Wonston Church from here, but that's just behind those buildings back there. Yeah, he's a bit of a tractor collector. He's obviously a farmer. I can't think, what is his name? I can't think what his name is off the top of my head. But there you can see Wonston Church just there. He, when the airfield was sold, obviously part of the agreement of the airfield being built in the first place was that they were offered to the farmers to buy the land back, and he bought the land back. Fortunately he did, because he's kept it pretty much, apart from things like this, which is all for wood logs and stuff like that, he's kept it pretty much intact, which is brilliant for us. And he's a really good, nice guy, looks after us in the museum side of things. And we're now coming up to the main runway, which this bit we're now coming up to is an extension of the main runway. As you, over in the background there, you can see that big long taxiway. Hopefully you can. That was built specifically for the A10s, as was this extension. This bit here was put on in the late 70s, early 80s, and you can see the runway going up in the distance there. We'll move around a bit more. Beautiful day for driving around. These really big runways, taxiways. As you these little buildings and what have you. As you can see, most of them are in use, which is good, I suppose, rather than letting them rot. As you can see, coming up here now is what was the fire station. It's now owned by a movie studio production company. I think that's what they call themselves. Yes, TV and film production. Bruiser.co.uk. They do lots of film and stuff here. This fence that's directly in front of us has all been put in since the airfield was sold, obviously to keep people off the airfield side of things. And these containers are all storage containers. This is a control tower. And these guys up the front here keep things flying in bentwaters, which is the Ipswich Model Aviation Society. All sorts of things that fly. Quite often you see small jets and stuff like that flying around here. Normally they're flying, but they don't seem to be doing much today, although there is quite a lot of them there. There's a control tower. I think that was modernised in the 60s. I think there is somebody actually who lives in the centre section of that now, which is a pretty cool place to live if you like that kind of thing. We'll go round and drive around the back of the museum just so you can see some different sites. Now I suspect these hangars here were possibly here when you were here, because they are of the old style. As you can see, that's used by warehouse. They store all sorts of stuff in these different warehouses and stuff. Heading back towards the main gate, but we're not going to go that way. We're going to go back through the domestic side, or the other side of things. You might recognise that building. This one here is brand new, literally gone up within the last couple of months. I actually know what's going to go into there. Well, it looks, ooh, that would make a cool workshop, wouldn't it? Cool. Have some fun in there. Just excuse the bumps in the road. one or two of the older buildings. Most of this stuff is fair newish. That's down here. Around the back of the museum, as you can see. We're going heading towards the old is it Folly House gate? Can't remember what it's called now off the top of my head. Another pole site full of caravans and camper vans and stuff, as you can see. Yeah, this is the old baseball field. I don't know whether that was, yeah, wow, still in pretty good condition. As you can see, the gate is blocked off now, so you can't actually nobody uses this gate anymore. We'll turn around and head back to the museum. Oh, up the curb. Right, I think that will do us for the day. Hope you're well, Johnny, and see you sometime soon.